Hi, I'm Ian. Just about to make some pixel stick controllers, and it's a really cheap way to get into this hobby if you want wireless Wi-Fi controllers. Thought it might be of interest to a few people, as it is possibly for beginners. But anyway, let's get into it. Try not to make this video too long. Hope you find it informative. If you do, please show your gratitude with likes and whatever else is around, or if there is a button to buy me a coffee, obviously do that as well if I've helped you out. Anyway, hope you enjoy it, but it's going to be pretty much uncut and edited, so you'll see what I see. Hopefully I won't have to start the video too many times, but I'll just show you what goes together, start soldering it up. You can make these things in about 10 minutes if you can solder. If you can't solder, then learn to solder, then you can make them in 10 minutes. Anyway, here we go. Just check that that's sort of in frame. I'll put my glasses on and also add a bit of additional light, the way that I make these controllers is this is called a D1 board. You can search ESP32 on eBay or AliExpress. What you're looking to get is possibly up to 4 parts. The board I've got here is actually a ESP32, which I'll be honest with, I'm having a little bit trouble getting the software to work correctly on at the minute. The one that is here is a ESP8266 board, and this is the same process, apart from the difference is that when you stack this one together, it's got 2 rows of pins each side instead of 1 row, which looks more like this. This sticker on the bottom is just because I'm organised, and this is its fixed IP address that I've given it, 192.168.2.230, and this is its 6 digits, so its MAC address, just so I'm having trouble setting it up. But anyway, let's get cracking, just show you what this consists of. So essentially what we're going to do is this one, because I'm doing an ESP32 at the moment, you need to find a way to put these together. So what you'll need is an ESP8266 D1 board, or Wemos I think they're sometimes called. You'll need a memory card, and you need to make sure that the memory card is working on the correct pins. Some do have some links on the back for adjusting the pins. This one is called an HW704, doesn't have any links on it, but it does have the correct pins. And you'll want, if you're going to use these on 12 volts, which I highly recommend you do, you want a little power board as well. That's not soldered on very straight, is it? Never mind. Anyway, might actually take that off. And if you're into buffering your output before it goes out to the pixels, which again I probably should recommend you do, but I've never done it, so I've probably got 15 of these things running. I've never buffed my pixels. But you could also put a buffer chip, so you can buy this little breadboard and a hex inverter chip, and then you can buff the output. But anyway, we don't need that, so I'm going to get rid of that one. So all you need to do is to stack these together. Now, what you get when you open these boards is you get lots of bits like this. Each pack has a varying amount of little connectors in it and things. Now, a word of warning, if you decide to, probably the correct way to do this is to put this in here like this, and then this in here like, get the right size ones. Notice that if you order a 32, the pins are longer, so if you mix the pieces up like I've done, you're not going to find out you've got the right bits. And put them in there like that. Then I think what you're probably meant to do is to put the ones that don't extend through in like this and this, and then solder all that lot in place under there. And if you wonder how to get them straight, I'll show you a little trick for that. So if you want to get, I won't worry about the outside ones at the minute, let's just concentrate on the inside ones first. Let's get rid of them. If you don't want them to look like this or this or this and this, which believe me is a really bad idea, what you want to do is to take one of these. So you poke that in there like that. You poke this in there like that. You poke all them through the holes, where they're meant to go, and that keeps them nice and straight in line, which is important because when you want this to then line up with the next board, for instance, you want them to be in line. So yeah, they put a one in like that to keep them straight. Turn it over, put it down there, make sure they're all nice and vertical, all nice and straight, all flat, so you're pushing some weight on it and they're pushed up fully into the hole. Tag the corners and solder them in. Now that's one way of doing it. And then what you then can do is you could then do this again and use the next row of these and stack the memory card ones in and solder them in place, because these are basically stackable boards. And then this will obviously plug into there, and these are highlighted with a white line here to show you where they plug in, and this notch here has to be in line and they have to go this way, and that will obviously plug not like that, but you know, on the pins on there. And then you could do the same on this one, and you can use these. Now you can choose to put the long pins through if you want to, or to obviously this to stack onto something else, or you could determine that this will be your last board in the stack and it will go on the bottom, and you can put those pins in there and these pins in there like this, so it goes that way round like this. And again, to keep these straight, put a thing across them to keep them in the right place, solder them on, and obviously that will go in there, and you'll build yourself a stack. Just be careful of the height on this, it might not plug fully in, and it will look something like, I'll try not to make it fall apart, something like that. And you've got your USB either C or mini connected, depending on which version of this you buy. I recommend you buy the ones with the C plug on because it's much easier. You've got your memory jack, and you've got a 12 volt DC barrel, so you can just plug 12 volts in. You can also just leave this on while you power it with 5, or you can tag some wires on there as a plus and minus to just put cables in, and then whatever pixel pin your pixel data comes off in, you can put a pin in the top here and feed it off to your pixels, and it works really well. But that is pretty chunky, and you can see, not massively chunky, but you can see how much smaller I've made these ones. So certainly for the ESP8266 version, given that this stuff is really cheap, so I mean, I think this board is about 90p and this one's about 60 or 50, 60 pence or something like that, and this one's probably about £1.50 to £2, maybe up to £3, depending exactly which version you buy, but I think I've bought them as low as just under £2. So this little stack of boards costs you £4 maybe to put this together. So that's a pretty cheap ESPixelstick controller, and the bit that's going to cost you the money is going to be your memory card. Now, a word of warning, I've got some in my box here. Whatever you do not buy cheap memory cards. Well, when I say cheap, what I mean is don't buy, I hope I can find you one. There's one. So if you particularly like buying stuff off AliExpress, you find these like things that look like Samsung, not Samsung, is it Samsung? Yeah, I think it's Samsung, isn't it? SanDisk, sorry, look like SanDisk cards. Don't touch them with a barge pole, they don't work. They do have the right amount of memory on them, but they're just not fast enough. I have quite successfully been running off Kingston canvas cards. The only thing I need to check is I believe these do go up to 64 gig. This card is 32, but these are becoming very hard to get hold of now. It's very difficult to buy 32 gig Kingston canvas cards. These do read up to 100 meg. I don't think these devices need to read anything that quick, but I will tell you that the cheap cards, I had trouble. I bought a load of them. They were like £1.60. They didn't work. I bought these canvas cards off a reputable UK seller. Make sure you go to a UK reputable memory card seller, like eBuyer or something like that. Not eBay, but eBuyer or something. And I think they were like £3.50 each. And I think you can buy a 64 for £3 or £4 now. And providing 64 works in this, which I haven't tried yet. That is what you need to do. So actually this is probably the most expensive part of this design, and then that just plugs in this thing here, and there you go. You have a ESPixelstick. In this case, this one, ESP8266. What you'll then need to do is to get yourself a decent quality USB-C cable, not one of these poxy little cheap leads. I'm trying to see if I can find one to show you. Not one of these silly little charging leads like your kids get with the headphones or everything that you get that don't work. You need a proper good quality data cable. A short one or no longer than a meter I would recommend to program these with. Obviously these are the older style USB B mini, whatever they call this, mini B, but I recommend you go to C. Anyway, that's enough for this ranting on, but just to show you what I'm going to do here with this design is I'm going to try and figure out a way. In fact, I've made a couple already. Let me show you this one. This is one of my test pieces for trying things out. So sometimes if you're unsure what you're doing, it's worth just having a mess of wires like this. This is a little junction box that I throw cables and stuff into, and just to test different GPIOs and make sure stuff works, and it's just lashed in. But you can see the structure of this is the board goes on the bottom, then I've got the memory card, then I've got the power card, and literally it's one row of pins all the way through. And then what you can do is stick pins in the top here, and I haven't bothered doing it and I wish I had, is install these other headers down here, and then when you want to plug something in, you can stick these pins, just put some wires on these pins and just plug them in. So that's another way of doing this. Now here's a word of warning, don't get caught like I do. These pins, well, they're designed to go all the way through and they're meant to be stackable. That's why they're super long like this. So you're expecting this to go through and then plug into here. What I want you to look at when you come to put these in here is how good these connectors are. Because these pins are super thin, and when you put them in here, they don't offer very much resistance at all, and they are supposed to connect. But I have definitely come across some of these plugs. This one's actually quite good, to be fair. But some of these just do not bite at all. They're really terrible. Like is that one? Yeah, these ones are, maybe these ones are a bit better. So just be aware of that. That these pins definitely work quite well with these, because the pins are fatter, and you put them in and they take some getting out. Okay. But if you start having problems, it's always a possibility that this hasn't connected with this. Now I can feel that they have, like that one there, look, I mean that's not, definitely just not, I mean, look, so that's not gonna, if you've got 3 volts on that, that's just not going to work well. So you could follow this tutorial, put these together and have lots of problems and go, this doesn't work. So what I've done is I just solder them all together. I will say, not the neatest of jobs there, but it's definitely worth doing that, and it will save you loads of connectivity problems. The other thing I'm not so sure about with the ESP32, because I'm new to doing this, I've never had any trouble with temperature of sandwiching these together. One thing I have always done is when I've built the stack, I don't know if you can see it in here, because that's a metal can, and you've got a ground, like it should all be ground, but just because there are via holes in here, which are the little pins that go through to the other side, and you're pushing them up against this metal can, I've always took a piece of insulation tape and just stuck it on top of the can or on top of here, just to make sure that there's never any chance of these via holes connecting or shorting or causing a capacitive issue with this can. So if you are going to build a stack like me, I highly suggest that you probably do that. So anyway, in this case, I think I'm going to put this one on like this. I am going to probably, I don't know whether to build it like this or not. What I was tempted to do was to put the pins under and plug this on the top, and then make a board and plug this one on the bottom. So I was going to put that one like that, but as you can see, this might rip that DC jack off. Actually, it's a bit of a nuisance. Or I can just go back to my micro stack. How I don't expect to ever take these apart. Basically, these two bits are so cheap, less than £2. You might spend £3 or £4 on one of these now, but to be fair, if they go wrong, you just throw them in the bin. You know, it's not worth messing about with them. So this is in the wrong place, so I'll just point that out. I think I am going to make another micro stack like this, but I am a little concerned about the heat, just making sure I don't end up with, because the 32 in that can run a little on the warm side, and actually, to be fair, so can the memory card. So it is a little bit of a decision about what to do, actually. Haven't decided. See, I wouldn't mind having pins to put that in there. The other option is you put the pins on the bottom and then just stack these together, and then anything you want to stick in you can inject in the bottom. Anyway, I think that's the way I'm going to do that. I'm just going to see if I've got any sticky tape. Oh, there is some tape in here. Got some tape in my box. So, I'm just going to see if the camera's still winding. Have a quick look what's going on. I think we're still winding, aren't we? Oh, yeah, we are still winding. Right, okay. Anyway, I hope you can see this okay, and I hope it's coming out, because I haven't, not really very good at making videos. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll put, I don't know, I'm going to put the tape on the can actually. What I'm going to do is put the tape on the board. I don't know if it matters really, does it? Wouldn't mind leaving a gap, to be fair. Just stick that on there like that. Little wire cutters. My wire cutters at my handles. I've had them so long, my handles are disintegrated on them. But they were some Lindstrom cutters. They're good cutters, just rubbish handles. Lindstrom, if you're out there, send me some cutters. Right, stick it on there like that. Now, the thing is, if you're going to put this board on the top of the stack, oh yeah, what I need to do before I do this, just show you, I have actually aligned this one. So what I showed you earlier, so here's one I made earlier. I took these two pins like this, I put these in here like that, ding ding, ding ding, like this, to keep it nice and straight, keep it level, turn it over, make sure they're upright and nice and square. Take your solder line, just check it on. Like this. And if you've got any, this is lead solder. I highly recommend you use lead solder. Just don't tell the lead police or whatever it is. Makes life a lot easier. And then so what we're going to do is just solder all these in place. So tuck the four corners in like this, and then just work your way along here. Just work your tip like that, and then just go. A little bit more on that. Let's get going first. Just there we go. And that one. Also the tip of the other one. That one. Let me just clean my tip a bit more. Probably been melting some heat sleeper a bit or something like that. It's got to be. Let's just fill it up full of soldering. Sponge is a bit wet. Right, let's go try again. Then like this. Like so, and then obviously turn it around, do the other side. So again, just don't short the pins, whatever you do, just go in there. Once upon a time I could see, and now I'm blind as a bat, so you have to just, oh dear, it's like the lights fell down a little bit. Let's just try to keep that there. Get that one in there. Hopefully we'll just try to turn it around so you can see what we're doing. Okay, don't put too much on, because that's the recipe to shorten them out. Just want it just a teeny bit like that, and like that, like that, like that. That, and then just check them, just make sure there's no little strands of solder or anything coming off any of them. To be fair, they could do with a bit of a clean, because I am using a quite heavily rosin based solder, which is a bit fluxy. Damn light. Sorry, it's not a very good light. I wasn't really very well set up to do this, but anyway. So there you go, that's the bottom stack bit. Don't need to pull these off now because that's all nice and ready to go. And then you then put the next bit on. So I've already taped this. Now what you're going to run into, notice the white marks and these two overhang. Now but they've cut this bit out here, so when you put this side on, you can see that those pins will stick up, but they don't go through there, so you're going to have to cut these off. But given that I'm using the pins from below and not above, I don't actually need them. So the ones that can come off, you can cut this one off, this one off. Just to get in trouble for that work. See if you can hit the person across the desk. Like that. Okay. A few people who work in electronics out there will know that. Do not flick your wire cuttings at the person next to you. So we're making sure that these white lines here line up with this and here, and those notches there and the notches there, and then we're going to sandwich that down to the bottom. And actually you can see when they've made these boards, they've not actually quite got the pitch right to match. Can you see that they spread the pins out slightly, which is very annoying. It's going to make it rather difficult to put this one on. No, it does go on. Okay, it does on. So I wouldn't mind just leaving, because I have got a little bit of space there, just to raise that very fractionally. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to probably wedge, just because I'd rather not have it touching. I'm going to stick some pins in there, not permanently, just temporarily. And then, I don't know, I've got something to stick in here. Do is we'll do it by eye. Well, I'm just going to lift it off that metal board just a fraction, just to allow a little bit of heat. In fact, it's where you can see there's a gap in there, and what I'm going to try and do is now just see whether this board will go on. It does. So I'm just going to fix them in place. More just concerned about the 32 does get a bit hot, and I didn't want it to overheat. And then once you've got them in place, just check them, because they're obviously easy to move when, yeah, there's definitely a gap under there. Right, and then don't run solder up the pin, because you won't get the board on above it. And then solder that one. Come on, that one. And that one. You don't actually, yeah, you need these ones. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 volts and ground, the pins that are used on this memory card. When you set up your ESP32, you will need to check they're on pins. I believe it's 18, 19, 23 and 5, I think it is, for your chip select pin. There we go, so that's all soldered all the way around. Just check that done them all. And then take the next board like this. And again, probably just going to put tape on it just for safety. Probably not necessary, So there are via holes in here, and if the via holes do, like whatever they're on here, if this breaks down or it's not very good, the coating, you could have a problem. So I'm going to just put a bit of tape on just to make sure I don't. Hope you're all still with me, sorry. But just shows it doesn't actually take very long, or it takes longer to tell you what to do than to do it. I can use a knife to cut that, couldn't I? Here's what it is. So like that, and then just stick this on there. And now I'm going to be careful here because I haven't left myself much room, so I'm going to make sure that the solder goes right down the vias and solders inside there, because I did want to just make maximum use of that pins and so have a little gap to let the heat out. So solder the first one in like that. Do one in the corner. Just make sure that's settled, and then that looks like all the rest are going to be just a little bit under tension. That looks fine. Right, and just solder the rest of these in. This, and just do the other corner first. Nothing worse than doing it all and then finding out it's proper on the slot when you get to the other side. So obviously power supply boards for ground pins very important. Just give that a chance to run through the via 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just the side there. I don't need to count, I'm just helping you guys. It's about watching it. Watch it flow. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Okay. And there you go. There is your, in this case, ESP32 Pixelstick controller. And I'll let you know how I get on with the software on this, because I have been having a bit of a battle. I don't know whether it's me or what's going on in a minute, but I've been trying to use, you should be able to use up to, they say 8 ports, probably realistically 5 or 6, maybe 7 ports, and then a relay port, probably not all 8 for pixels, but somewhere control up to 3000 pixels. With the memory card on board, you've got the option of doing all the different protocols, so EAN, is it 131, ArtNet, I think it supports DDP, all sorts of stuff. Have a look in the software, it supports lots of, the only one you really need to use is the DDP, and that works really well. And then put the memory card in, load the programs up. You can run it in multi-sync mode, you can run it in broadcast mode, you can run it in IP only mode. There's lots of different options. There's some pre-programmed patterns in here, so you can stick some stuff in it and just play it if you want to, if you don't want to link it up to either drive it from a PC or drive it from an FPP controller. But yeah, look, very powerful little board for like this is, and some really good work been done by the guys who have programmed this up over the last few years. Done some excellent work on it. So don't knock this little thing. I mean, given that you can basically blow these things up and throw them in the bin and not get into a panic over it, as I see someone said the other day on the forum, rather than blowing up any number of other boards that you could spend several £100 on. And my whole display runs off these. I mean, I've got 15 I think of these running. Just make sure you drive them from a good quality Wi-Fi router that can support lots of boards. The problem you're going to have is in multi-sync mode, the boards will subscribe to a casting multi-sync cast, and you may find that your router doesn't support loads of them. I'm now using broadcast mode, which I'm sure some will tell you not to do, but it supports that, and to me the broadcast mode works better for me, but your mileage may vary. So I'm just going to solder these other connectors in. I thought I just soldered the other connector in. I can't see what I'm doing under there, but I'm just hoping it's going to stay in place. Come on. Doesn't want to go, does it? There you go. Right. Now it's in place, I can do the rest. Can't really see that. Probably should have soldered them in before I'd done the rest. Here we go. Might as well do all of it if I'm going to show you, mightn't I? Come on. Okay, right, let's go in there. And that one, oh, left a bit of... that one, you're still with me, thank you. So, show your appreciation in some way. Hopefully this will save you some money. Anyone can do this, right? You just need to practice. And just buy the bits, buy a soldering iron, weld them together. There's no surface mount to like solder, it's all through hole. So I'm working back behind the board because I'm trying to keep it in shot. I'm hoping you guys can see. And gals, of course. Boys and girls, and get your children to do it. Employ your children to make you some. Hi, welcome back. Anyway, hopefully I'll be able to tag this bit onto the end of the other video. Hope you caught all of that. I think it just ended as I was just finishing off that stack, and if you're interested, I'll do another video on how you program these and make them work, if there's enough interest. So yeah, leave your comments below. I hope it's useful to you. I don't have loads of time to ask lots of questions, but if they're sensible questions, I'll do my best if I have time, or hopefully someone else will help me answer them below. And yeah, there you go. Hope it's useful to you. See you. Bye.